Now, finally, we're getting away from the pandemic. Ben Gurion International Airport even reopening its train station finally. But let's not forget that the pandemic has cost us. In addition to the priceless lives lost, the Israeli treasury estimating that the virus will leave us with a 180 billion shekel deficit, approximately $54 billion and about 12.6% of the annual GDP. So what'll happen? What can we do? With me to discuss is consumer behavior and international marketing expert, Assistant Professor Vili Abraham. Vili, thanks so much for being with us again. Put this into layman's terms. How bad is the situation?
Well, we're talking about the highest budget deficit in the history of the country. In fact, it's the highest in the world, only to be surpassed by the budget deficit of the United States, which is about $3.3 trillion, Canada, and the UK. So it really doesn't look good. Really huge budget deficit. It means that the government will have to find ways to fill the government coffers, which are really empty right now.
So, first of all, do they have a plan to fill these coffers, and how will the average Israeli feel this deficit?
Well, there are no media reports about any government plans at the moment, but we can assess what can happen. When there's a budget deficit, there are really two things you can do. On the one hand, you can increase taxes, but if you increase taxes too much, this will have a counterproductive result, which will be decrease in consumption. What you want to do is you want to increase consumption. So you have to balance between, on the one hand, raising taxes, and on the other hand, decrease spending. So it means that the average Israeli will probably feel this by paying more at the supermarket. So VAT is 70%, it could be higher. We might find ourselves paying more for gas, paying more for import products, maybe paying even more income tax, paying more fees for different government services that we're getting. And because of the expected budget cuts across the board, it might even impact in a very negative way the level of service that we're getting from government ministries, because they'll probably have fewer working hours or fewer people providing services. So we're all going to feel this one way or another. Hopefully, tax hikes will not be as significant, and I really hope it will not be on food. I think one of the major problems is that there's no differential VAT. There's a 17% VAT on everything you buy.
Yeah.
And if there is an increase in VAT, I hope it will not be on food, because if you look at statistics, the gap between the rich and poor in Israel has only increased with the pandemic. And if food prices will increase more, this will only increase the gap between the rich and poor. And this is something we want to avoid.
All right, well, I absolutely agree with you there. Professor, thank you so much for being with us.
It was a pleasure.